Today we're going to learn about how to place your violin in rest position and in playing position. My name is Vivian. I'm a violin teacher based in Greensboro, North Carolina, and let's get started. Rest position is how we hold our violin when we are still using it, but we are not going to play. Like, for example, if our teacher is telling us something, or if the conductor in orchestra is talking, or if we are just carrying a violin around from place to place, we want to put our violin in rest position, which is how I have it right now. So let's do a quick demo of how to find rest position. First, put the violin down. First, it's important before you play that we are centered, we are in our bodies, aware of how we're feeling and what's going on around us before we start playing. This body awareness and spatial awareness is really important to playing, so we want to make sure that we have a second to calm ourselves, to breathe, to find our center. So let's find our center. We are going to sway from foot to foot, shifting our weight from one foot to the other one. Taking some deep breaths. Good. And then let's sway so that our sways get shorter and shorter until we find our center of gravity. It should feel like that you are right between your feet and that your feet are right under your hips and that your body is stacked from your feet all the way up to your head. So you don't want to feel like you're leaning forward or backward or to one side or another. If you're used to standing on, leaning on one foot more than the rest, or if you're used to standing with your weight shifted onto the balls of your feet or too much onto your heels, although I can't do that, this might be kind of tricky for you. So we can sway from side to side. If you feel like you aren't centered again, let's just make sure that we are. All right, I'm gonna find our center. Good. Take a nice deep breath here. Okay. Scan your body for any tension. Let go of any tension that you feel. Take note of it. And just, if you can't let it go, that's okay. Just know that it's there and move on with your day. All right. Good. Now, we're going to grab our instrument. I've mentioned in other videos and in our lessons, if you're one of my students, that the safest way to hold your violin is going to be by the neck, or by the neck and the shoulder, in addition to having it in rest position. So we're going to hold our violin with our left hand on its neck and shoulder. Left shoulder if the back is facing towards you. Like so, right in front of you. We're going to raise our right arm. We're going to place our violin to our side and have our right arm fall on top of the violin so that our right arm is over our chin rest, okay? We don't want our violin to be so tucked that we place our arm over our bridge or our strings. The bridge is fragile. It is not glued in place. It is actually held there by several pounds of pressure. So we want to make sure that our arm is not over the bridge because that can damage the bridge and maybe knock it out of place. So let's make sure that our arm is over our chin rest. There we have it. Rest position. Couldn't be easier. All right. Now, we also have to learn how to hold our violin in playing position. First, I'm gonna walk you through the steps, and then we're going to do it together. There are two ways of holding the violin, depending on the balance of the violin's weight between your hand and your body. The first way we're going to go through is the bridge hold. It is where the violin's weight is equally balanced between your left hand, your collarbone, and the weight of your head. Okay? So, how I like to start with teaching playing position is by starting with the Statue of Liberty, which is a stance where you hold the violin up like the torch in the Statue of Liberty and then bring it to you. This is to emphasize that the instrument always comes to you, not you to the instrument, because then we get this little turtle thing going on here. We don't want that. So let's find our center again. Sway from foot to foot with our violin in rest position. Thank you. Take some nice deep breaths. Good job. And when you've found your center, hold your violin in your left hand on its shoulder so that your fingers are over the strings. We're going to take our violin out of rest position, and can you show it to me? Hold it out in front of you. Good. Now, we're going to raise our violin up high so it's Statue of Liberty, and this is actually really good because it strengthens your shoulder. Good job. Okay, now, let's bring it to our center again. You're going to want to have your eyes on the back of the instrument. Okay. We're going to flip our violin over so that the chin rest is pointing up to the ceiling. Your hand should still be on that shoulder and the neck of the violin. It shouldn't move. You shouldn't like change your grip on the instrument to flip it over. Just rotate your arm. Good. So now our violin is flipped over. We can think about the instrument coming to us. Now first, before we try to bring a violin to us, don't get ahead of ourselves. We're doing this very slowly, step by step, and then we're going to all do it in a fluid motion. I want you to take your right hand and find this bone right here. That's your collarbone. If you can't find it, it's going to be where the collar of your shirt lands. That's your collarbone. This is a beautiful little shelf for your violin to sit on. Okay, violin is pointed so that the chin rest is pointed up towards the ceiling. We found our collarbone. That is where our shoulder rest and our violin is going to go. Now, we want to take our right hand, now that we found our collarbone, place our right hand fingers on the button of the violin. The button is going to touch our throat right here. Okay? And we're going to bring the violin to us. Remember, not us to the violin to us, so that we are nice and tall. Ready? Bring the violin to you. Violin touches your collarbone. Good job. And the button should be touching your throat. If you're looking in the mirror and you find the button is right here, or if it's over here, that's not good. We want our button to be into our throat, okay? Good job. And then, also, another thing to look out for, when you're practicing playing position, we want to make sure that our violin is actually up on our shoulder and on our collarbone. Some people have it too high. That's very uncomfortable. And some people, this is more common because it's more comfortable. Some people will have our violin too low down here so that our button isn't even remotely near our neck anymore, and our violin is going to be down here. This is not good. This is fine for like a little momentary resting place, but when we play, we don't want to be down here. We want to be up here, right? Good. So now you'll notice that the violin is resting on our collarbone. Your jaw is going to be resting gently on the chin rest, or the jaw rest, as I think it should be called. And your left hand is supporting the weight of the violin over here, or in playing position over here. All right, that is the bridge pose for holding the violin. That is one of the most common ways to hold the violin, but there's another way that I'm going to teach you in a second. First, I want to illustrate something. Now, this hold is, some people call it the diving board hold, and it is when we hold the violin with just so that our violin is balanced on our collarbone, and we just hold it with the weight of our head, like that, so that our left hand is free to wave and do whatever it needs to do on the violin. Sometimes we need to do that if we're shifting, or if we're playing a lot of double stops and we just need to be free with our hand. Sometimes that's necessary. The bridge hold is a little more balanced and comfortable, but sometimes we need to be able to do whatever we want to do on our instrument. So we have the diving board hold, okay? Let's start from rest position here, and let's go into the diving board hold, and I'm going to show you something called the cantilever principle, okay? Now, violin up, so that we're doing Statue of Liberty, flip it over, bring it to you. Now, we're going to bring the violin to you so that it sits on our collarbone, but we're not going to drop our head into the chin rest just yet. Instead, your hand, your right hand, is going to find the ridge, the outer ridge of your chin rest. And you're going to take 2 fingers. This is a little experiment. We're going to take 2 fingers and we're going to push into the chin rest, like downwards. And what that does, it's kind of magical. Boop. It makes your scroll come up so that it's level with the ground, level with the floor, and has counterbalances the weight of your violin so you don't drop it. See, my head is not on the chin rest. I can shake it, I can nod it, I can move it all over. What's happening is that the violin is balanced on my collarbone and my right hand is counterbalancing the weight of the violin so I don't have to hold it. Your right hand is doing what the weight of your head does when we hold our violin in the diving board form or with just our head. So that your left hand can be free. So now we're going to try that again, but instead of using our hand, we're going to use our head's weight to counterbalance the violin, and all of that was called the cantilever principle. If you apply pressure here, it's going to make like a lever that allows your violin to stay up. Alright, so now, starting from Statue of Liberty, flipping a violin over, bringing it to us so that our button is into our throat, and then we're going to rest our head gently on the chin rest so that I can take my left hand away and wave. Hi. And can you swing your arm? This can be kind of scary to do. If you're scared, do this over your bed. Good job. Good. So, those are the 2 types of playing position. They're kind of the same thing, but one way of holding the violin is a little more balanced, like in a little tripod, and one is a little more weighted towards your head. You want to be able to do both, practice both. Let's start from our violin being on a counter or elsewhere and practice going into playing position, okay? All right, so picking up our instrument, Statue of Liberty. Good. Flipping our instrument over, bringing it to us. There's our bridge. Nice. Now, Statue of Liberty. Bring your instrument to you. Check if it's balanced. Check, check. Drop your head inside and let go with your left hand. Nice. Great job. You've just learned how to practice holding the violin in playing position. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're a beginner or you are intermediate or advanced player just reviewing the basics. That is really great to do. You want to practice this sequence of events until it feels really natural, and you always want to be mindful of making sure that your body is up nice and tall and you're standing with good posture. You can also do this seated. I recommend that students learn how to hold the violin standing first. It's a little easier to feel your weight that way. But you can also practice this seated. It's a good idea. Practice this in the mirror because what can happen is that we can either extend our heads too far forward so that we look like little turtles, like that. We don't want to do that when we play. We also want to watch and make sure that we don't have any excess tension in our shoulders, in our neck, in our jaw. We want everything to be nice and loose. If you're not, that's okay. A lot of people aren't. But we want to see if we can release any tension that we have. We also want to make sure that we aren't shrugging our shoulders up or moving them in certain ways. Even though violin is an asymmetrical and unnatural way to hold our bodies, the goal with our technique is to make things as natural as possible. So that is the ultimate goal. So when you practice this, make sure that your posture is beautiful, nice and up and firm, that you're supporting yourself adequately in your core so that you can support the instrument better. Make sure that your weight is balanced and make sure that you practice bringing the instrument to you. I would say that's probably the most important. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can email me or drop a comment in the comments below. And if you're one of my students, I will see you in our next lesson. And if not, You can feel free to email me with any questions, or if there's a video topic that I haven't done that you'd like to see, I would love to hear from you. All right, thank you, and have a good rest of your day.